this your card?
No, Stu, your card is a crit fumble card that makes you hit yourself in the back of the head.
Yes.
Like, how can you even do that?
It's honestly going through some of the critical fumble cards. You sort of read what they are, and you have to really contort your brain to see how they happen. Like with that particular one that happened in the last episode. Yeah, I was really doing a lot of mental gymnastics to figure out how Olwen hit himself with his own weapon.
Especially, I suppose, if you bring it up and you catch yourself with it,
Yeah, you sort of pull back to strike. You don't realise that the guard is in the way, and you smack yourself in the temple, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
people do it with golf clubs all the time. Apparently,
people do it with golf clubs all.
They do their swing, and it comes around. They get themselves on the neck, and apparently, this guy was telling me, a surgeon was telling me that it's like that death blow that Uma Thurman does in Kill Bill on David Carradine. They sort of whack themselves on the neck, and then they walk 7 paces and drop down dead.
Really?
Yeah, they kill themselves with it.
Another reason not to ever go golfing, folks. You might accidentally kill yourself.
Especially with
I've
Owen.
always said this exercise lark is bloody dangerous, and I mean, seriously, running is one of the most dangerous things you can do.
It's quite an unhealthy thing to do as well for your knees and ankles and gut.
Yeah, I mean, Catherine's she's a massive runner. She'll run a 10k every other day, like for fun. But yeah, I mean, she's very fit and healthy, but yeah, the horror stories you hear about, the damage people do running.
I tell you what, just to validate our fear of the outdoors even more, I think we should probably start a podcast, Stu. What do you reckon? Welcome back, listeners, to Tales from the 20 Side, Pathfinder 2nd Edition Let's Play podcast. My name is Dom, and I'm joined by our regular cast members of Mr. Stu Jackson.
Hello.
Mr. Neil Kelly.
Hello.
Mr. Darren Mafucci.
Howdy.
And Miss Amy Chislett.
Hello.
Good evening, folks. We're all sounding in very good spirits. I trust you all had a lovely break.
Yeah, got rid of
Filled
the
my
buzzing.
coffee cup.
It's alright.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't flaunt my coffee too much, because I know Darren is coffeeless, as he neither has milk nor a clean coffee machine.
I do have the means to clean my machine this evening, though, which I'm going to do after this session, and then I'll just have black coffee.
Yeah, black coffee is much. It took me a while to get into black coffee, but I only have it black now. Start doing it just for dietary reasons, but I'm not. I actually had a coffee with milk in it the other day, and I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I
stopped having milk in general. Must have been best part of 2 years ago now. Like I randomly went on like a diet type thing. It was a cleanse where you sort of go down to sort of drinking and eating the bare minimum to sort of cleanse your body out and all that sort of stuff. Kind of just to prove I could. I managed it. But what I found was when I came off that and obviously started reintroducing my normal diet, what I found was that milk was making me feel really queasy. So I was just like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's obviously an intolerance that I've been suppressing for some time. I'm going to stop drinking milk. So I did.
Yeah, it's quite common to be lactose intolerant but not realise, because it's in quite a lot of stuff. So you don't realise until you cut it out.
It's as you say, it's in so much stuff that your body doesn't realise that it's a problem until you take it away and then put it back in. Very, very, very weird.
That's going to be worth a try.
I already know I'm lactose intolerant because I suddenly became it around the age of 35 for no particular reason. I was 36 before it got diagnosed, but yeah. But no, I still like milk because I have lactose-free milk, so just to clarify that one. But I still like milk because I have to have milk. Well, I say I have to have milk. I'm on some new medication and I've got to have it with either food or milk, otherwise it burns a hole in my stomach.
Yeah.
So I have it with a glass of milk now, a small glass of milk.
I have to take mine with food, but I use those little like Yakult things, You know, like
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
little gut culture stuff. I use them.
Probiotics.
Yeah.
Well, for probiotics, I've started taking a probiotic soluble fibre on a daily basis called inulin. Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
I killed the
Don't
company.
really know what else to say.
Before we started recording the preamble, we were talking about films and interesting stuff, and then we started recording. And I have to take this stuff to change my shit.
I think clearly some Zoom Jedi has stepped into our call and gone, this is not the preamble. This is not the preamble we're looking for.
Yeah, so what's coming up on Facebook now, Dom?
Yeah.
What's it offering you?
Let's have a look. So just for a bit of
Senecot
background to
and
that,
stereos.
for a bit of background to that question there, where we obviously had the mention of the wasps last time we played. I was scrolling through Facebook sort of immediately after, and I saw I was being shown a video of a colony of army ants storming a wasp's nest, which is exactly what you want to see. It was quite interesting, quite cool. They built this really intricate bridge out of their own bodies. Quite metal when you think about it.
Going in to steal their marmalade. Yes.
So, to counteract this, can Otto vomit ants as well as bees?
Yes, and worms and bugs and all sorts.
I think ants are indeed an option. They all do the same damage though, so it's just for whether you want your spinny, buggy death to be worm flavoured or wasp flavoured.
It's like the old woman who swallowed a spider. You start with a wasp, then you go to the ants, then you have a cat, then a dog, then an alligator,
and then you stop just before you get to Mrs. Jones from next door.
Yeah, and well, I think the last step along this way is Otto turns into a shark.
Yes. I've got to do that on dry land, haven't I?
It's going to happen. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it on dry land. That's not going to be.
I would. The element of surprise would be amazing. Nobody's expecting a shark on dry land
to come tumbling down the stairs at them.
Just flopping towards them.
I mean,
his black eyes.
Have any of you seen that? Have any of you seen that?
Eyes.
There's a comic on the web. It's in like the manga style. I don't know what it's from, but there is one particular panel where there is some guy looking back in alarm towards a door, and you just see the shark. You see a shark kicking this door open, and apparently the noise that a shark makes when it kicks down a door is gashunk.
Gashunk.
Now, is it Sharky or is it George? Because they're the crime busters of the sea.
Do you know what? I'd not considered that it could be Sharky and George, Stu. Maybe it's a Sharky and George comic. I don't know. I have to try and find it.
Ah. Sharky and George. Anyway.
Sharky and George. It's great. Cool. All right then, folks. So, speaking of trying to find tenuous ways to get Otto to transform into a shark, Maximus has just surrendered to you. He's prostrate before you, Otto. This is the perfect time to become a shark.
Absolutely.
Do it.
I'm sure the surprise on his face as you suffocate yourself to death will be palpable. Oh dear.
Just flollop there, yeah.
Right, shall we get back into the game, folks?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, so bringing ourselves back into our game, our heroes, Olwyn Templeton, Brother Amos, and Otto von Niederschläger, along with their new acquaintance Della Thornbury, have found themselves in a bit of a brawl in the playful Come On, and on the roadside of Irison. A very angry individual known as Maximus Laurentius, wearing the robes of a deity recognised as Pharasma, has stormed into the tavern, demanding something back that was taken from him during a game of chance the previous evening. seeing Della, the individual who had taken this item from him, he ordered his 2 thugs to apprehend her. She was dragged outside the tavern, where a bit of a brawl ensued, and to a bystander watching, you would be forgiven for thinking that everybody involved in this was still drunk from the night before, as it turned into a bit of a comedy of errors as this brawl wore on. Eventually, with the arrival of Otto, spitting wasps all over this kind of makeshift battlefield, you were able
injuring friend and foe alike.
Injuring friend and foe alike. Very,
but
very
I thought
true.
I would try it. I wanted to try it.
In Otto's mind, everybody's a threat. Yes, with this and some choice words from Otto as well, you were able to subdue the individual known as Maximus Laurentius, cowing him into submission and causing him to break down in front of you as he began to cry and tell you that he seemed to have a problem of sorts, and that's where we're going to bring ourselves back in. And you sort of see as Maximus sort of breaks on the ground in front of you, the 2 thugs who had been hassling you all look a little bit confused, and you see they sort of turn to say, Maximus, Mas Laurentius, what's wrong? What should we do? And you see Maximus, without saying anything, just waves them away, and you watch as these two ruffians kind of look at each other, a bit confused, but you see they relax and they begin to move away from you all, still with their saps kind of in hand in case you try anything. But they certainly the situation seems to have been diffused for the moment. Maximus is sobbing on the ground in front of you. What would you like to do?
I think we should help him up. Why don't we talk about this over breakfast?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
That would be a nice idea, I think.
Yeah, I'll want to go over and sort of pat him on the shoulder and start helping him up, saying, dry your eyes, mate.
All right. Between
have a hanky.
Between the 3 of you, you pick up Maximus from the snow, and you start taking him inside the tavern. As you do so, you all see Brother Amos stood at the bar, hungrily eating a bowl of breakfast stew
and a rum.
Well, my plan was when it came back to my turn, I was gonna shot the rum and then walk outside and just start cracking skulls. But
well, next time I'm sure there'll be ample
I'll
opportunity.
just have to do that inside.
There's only one way to find out.
Yes, we brought him in so you can punch him without having to get up from your breakfast. Double fist.
Okay. Brother Amos, you see the door open and the rest of the group coming back in with this very, very dishevelled looking priest of Pharasma in tow. What would you all like to do? Oh, Olwyn, are you bringing Chardonnay inside as well?
No, I'm going to say to Chardonnay to, go to the stables for now.
All right, okay. Chardonnay.
I mean, it's not an overnight thing. Presumably, it's not as bitter cold as it was the night before.
So yeah, it's not as cold as it was last night. Obviously, you're in Irison, which is the land of eternal winter, so it's still quite cold. But certainly now the sun has come up. It's nowhere near as bitter as it was in the darkness last night.
Yeah.
You do so. Chardonnay trots off to the stables, and as you all come back in, you can see the goblin bartender sort of sees you all enter, sees you, Olwyn, and almost reflexively says, "No, I said get that out." Ah, I see. You have remembered this time. Good.
Yes, your
Welcome.
word here is law, my friend. We know how much it upset you, so we thought we would leave them outside and come in for some of your lovely breakfast stew.
Well, thank you for your consideration.
You got there in the end.
Good. Yes, that is Dom's latent speech impediment, not the goblin. Don't worry. It's just to go off piece a second. There are certain words that just really trip me up, and I've got no idea why.
We all have them.
We do indeed. Yes, you make your way back in, and he says, "Yes, all right then. I can breakfast. You say? Well, your friend here already had the portion I had for you, but I can have some more prepared. Go and find yourselves a table."
Thank you. We will. Let's go and find ourselves a table.
Yes, let's.
Easy enough to do. There's a fair few tables that are spare, including the one that Della had been sat at before this had all kicked off. So yeah, you can find a table easily enough, with room for the 5 of you, and you sort of Maximus sort of sits very heavily into one of the chairs and just seems to be sort of staring down at him, down at his robes. Seems to be playing with one of the blue spirals that is embroidered into it. What would you guys like to do?
Yes, not really a way for the man of the cloth to behave, is it? Now, speaking as a religious person myself, if you need help with something, you should ask for it. Not be a dick. So if you're going to stop being a dick, we might be able to help you. What's your problem?
I'm sorry. It's just that item I lost to the young lady over here. It's special to me, all right. It's special to my faith. If I go back to the clergy and they discover that that's missing, I'll be excommunicated. Pharasma will be most displeased.
Then?
I have a problem. You know.
Yes, that is the nature of gambling. I'm afraid. I mean, it's all very well to say don't gamble with what you can't afford to lose, but that's all very well for people who just enjoy the occasional flutter. But when we're in the grip of this cruel mistress, you have no choice. And in fact, impending devastation, impending destitution is all part of the thrill, part of that's something you must have. And yes, and living with these consequences, it's a masochistic thing, is it not?
I suppose so. It's just I'd lost the last of my money to this one. He looks at Della, and she offered me a chance to win it back, and all I had was my knives. I thought for sure I could beat her, but she cheated, I'm certain of it. I watched her switch her cards.
All right, now stop that.
I did
Being
not
a dick again.
cheat.
If you thought she was a cheat, you wouldn't have played with her in the first place. So we can quit that.
I didn't think she was a cheat to start with. Nobody does to begin with. It wasn't until we played that last hand, and I watched her move something from around her sleeve. I'm sure of it.
All right, tell you what, you're a priest of Pharasma, aren't you?
Yes.
You're like being, and perhaps even more so, like my friend Otto here. You're good with your magic-y things, aren't you?
It's I have I'm not really a fully sanctified priest, but I'm on my way to that. I have some ability.
All right, are you familiar with a spell called Zone of Truth?
I've heard of it. It's I don't think it's one that I have the ability to cast.
Otto, can you cast it?
I don't think I can. No.
Oh right, well that's that plan out the window.
But if you need some more wasps,
such
I'm your
distrust.
Well, look. The situation is clearly, you've lost this thing. But obviously, the young lady seems quite reasonable to me. Have you tried offering her something else in exchange for it?
I have nothing else. I told you I lost the last of my silver to her last night. I wagered the necklace in a hope to win some of it back, but that's all I have. I've nothing.
Okay, Alwyn's going to turn to Della. Sorry, young lady. I'm Alwyn. Hello.
Oh, hi, Della. Nice to meet you. Thanks for your help outside, by the way.
No problem.
It.
Can't stand idiots.
No.
Yes, especially ones with saps. Yes, we wiped out an entire police force.
Yes, we don't like. Yes, because they used saps.
Yes,
it's a red rag to us.
Hit me over the head with them. Anyway, look. I mean, you can see this chap's in a bit of a state. Can't you just give him his necklace back?
And chalk it up to experience. And you will feel better for having saved a ruined man.
Think of it as a good deed. I'm surprised to hear you saying this sort of thing, Otto. I'm very pleased. I'm very surprised.
Yes, I think, well, let's see. How can we resolve this? How can we take pity on this man and at least let him not be completely ruined this time? I mean, tomorrow night perhaps he will just lose it again to someone else, But maybe this time we can show mercy.
Well, I would hope that he'd learnt his lesson, and I'll glare at Maximus.
But that is to misunderstand the nature of this cruel mistress of gambling.
Well...
And I think a lesson isn't learnt unless it's followed through. And I'm sorry, but I won that fair and square. And I just...
harsh but fair.
Yeah, Della's looking quite torn. She's been in a similar situation, so she's looking quite knowingly at Maximus a little bit, but she also feels that this is a harsh lesson that he needs to have in order to move forward. So she's willing to not let him have it.
Yes, you're thinking of you're thinking of the long game. You're thinking perhaps yes, in the long term, if we simply give it to him back, how will that ever cure him of his addiction?
Exactly.
Yes.
He must hit rock bottom before he can rise up again.
We all have to learn the hard way.
All for the sentiment. But look, is there maybe some way he can make recompense to you? Maybe, obviously, he says he's got no money or anything. Maybe, perform some services for you, or, what do you think, Maximus? What are you good at?
I mean, can't you just get another necklace?
No, you don't understand. Those knives, they're given to us as a symbol of our faith and our training. I can't just get another one.
Can I take a religion roll to see if I know anything about the significance of this necklace?
You absolutely can, Alwyn.
Thank you. 18.
18, okay. You've not seen this item, Alwyn. Certainly you haven't seen the one that Della seems to have. But you know that followers of Pharasma often wear a necklace, a sacred a necklace that is sacred to them, known as a necklace of knives. And you know that this necklace is generally kind of strung with miniature stone knives, and kind of as long as it is worn, the follower of Pharasma is never without a weapon. with which to destroy undead. So essentially, what they can do is anytime they need perhaps a stake for a vampire, or a stone dagger, or even
or
perhaps
a
steel
for a werewolf.
Yeah, not quite a silver, not quite silver, but yeah. You know that wearing this necklace allows the wearer to break off one of these knives to create, as mentioned, either a steel dagger, a stone implement, or a stake.
Right.
Cold iron for fairies as well?
Unfortunately, not.
Not cold iron.
But you also know that the necklace produces a limitless amount of these things. From what you've heard.
That sounds like a pretty handy necklace.
Sounds very handy to me. I can see why you want to keep it.
Yes.
And as mentioned, this artifact, these items of jewellery are considered very sacred to followers of Pharasma, because as again, knowing what you know about Pharasma, undead are anathema to her, and her followers are sworn to destroy them wherever they find them.
Yeah. So knowing its importance to him, I said, "Look, Maximus, what would you be willing to sacrifice to get your necklace back? What would you be willing to do?"
He thinks to himself, and you can see that now he's kind of sat down and his breathing settled, and he's kind of got himself a bit back together. He sort of says, I don't know what I can do for you, but there is something that perhaps you can do for me in exchange for keeping it.
Oh.
Well, we already have it.
Yeah.
But
No.
we will hear you out anyway. What is your proposition?
You misunderstand me. I do not seek to extort you. You know, as you say, you have the item. You can keep it if you so wish. But there is something that I must do. Something I was travelling to do. A little way to the north, there is a village known as Ulsgard. It's an abandoned place, has been for many, many years. And that place is haunted. I was travelling there to cleanse the village of its undeath scourge, and perhaps return it to habitation. If you would go in my stead, destroy the creatures that infest it, if any are there, find the source of this haunting, whatever it is, and cleanse it, as I say, I would be willing to allow you to keep that necklace.
Allow?
Because so long as you give me proof of the deed being done that I can take back to my clergy.
And that'll stop you getting excommunicated, will it?
It will. If I can have some proof of the deed being done, I can perhaps convince my superiors that the necklace was broken or lost during the cleansing.
And if the young lady here decides not to do that, to just simply keep the necklace, what then?
Well, then I'm ruined. You've already seen. I doubt I could. I doubt I could stand up to you if you chose to harm me.
Because that is the other option, of course.
Well, that's an option. I mean, walking away is obviously. I mean, this young lady's got nothing to do with us. We don't know her.
No, and this village of Osgard is nothing to do with us. And this necklace has nothing to do with us. You're nothing to do with us. Where is our fucking breakfast?
As you say this, Otto, you see the goblin sort of bringing over a few plates, a few bowls of food.
Ah, there you are, my friend.
Della is going to take this opportunity to pay for everyone's breakfasts. To say thank you.
All right. Okay.
Oh, most
Thank you,
generous.
that's very
You see, Maximus, things are looking up already. Breakfast.
Even Maximus gets a breakfast. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Mark off 15 silver, please, Della.
Okay. Is it 10 gold to silver?
10 silver to a gold, so 1.5 gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sort of so yeah. Max, as your breakfast is served and you all sort of begin digging in fairly hungrily, Maximus presents you with this offer, and seems to be waiting for you to answer him.
I'll tell you what, Maximus. I'm willing to do this for the necklace, I think. I don't mind helping you out. I don't know whether I can go on my own. I don't know what you guys are doing.
We do have some rather pressing business of our own, do we not?
Do we?
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
You did. You did notice when Maximus was explaining what he was asking you to do. He did mention that the village of Ulsgard was a short way to the north, which is the same direction as you're all travelling.
But presumably we'd have to come back to give him proof of... So we'd have to go north,
He comes
get
with
whatever
us.
proof it is that they've all been destroyed, then come back south again to give it to him, then go north again.
We could take him with us, yeah.
Yeah, I'd take him with us.
And then, yeah. How would you feel about coming on a road trip, Maximus? Path trip, sorry. No such things as roads.
To the place you were going to anyway.
Yeah.
Of course. I could certainly accompany you if it saves you a journey back.
I notice you use the word as there, Otto. Are you planning to go then?
Well, that's the way we're going, isn't it? Or is our other business more pressing?
No, it's the... Oh, do you know what? It's the right thing to do, isn't it? So... But
Yes,
I'm glad to see you're getting on board with this sort of thing now, Otto. I'm quite impressed.
Well, yes, this whole right thing to do business, it's got us into a lot of trouble before.
Well, yes, but here you are, leaping into the fray, as it were, yes.
When was the last time I collected a bounty on someone's head? Because I've been out doing what's the right thing to do.
Don't know. I've never known you to, so...
No. Oh, yes, I
Yes.
did once. I did.
Think about it as doing the right thing is your quarry, and the bounty is karma. No, okay, that's
Yes, I had it more the other way
that fell
round.
down. Right, okay. Right. Anyway, all right. I think yes, it's definitely the right thing to do. Brother Amos, we ought to check with Nadia what Nadia wants to do as well, because she's got the boys to think of.
I want to check something. I want to know how strong the magic of this necklace of knives is.
Sure. So
If it somehow ended up back in Maximus Laurentis's hands, would we all be in danger from him?
you can. I mean, you can make a religion roll, Otto.
Religion.
I'm assuming you're not saying this out loud in front of Maximus.
I mean, either
as an aside,
just thinking actually, either religion or arcana, Neil.
Arcana. No, neither is stronger, so they're both a 1. So I have thrown a good 7.
I mean, you've heard of these things. You've never seen one. You don't really know what they can do. You think it's probably safe to assume that Olwyn has told you everything there is to tell you about it.
But Olwyn, is this something really dangerous? Could it somehow end up in his hands and we could end up at his mercy?
Well, no, it produces a dagger. So it's
Just
no
a dagger.
more dangerous than a dagger. Except, it's like unlimited daggers. It's so think about your icicle dagger that you can throw and it reappears again.
Yes. That.
It's sort of like that in a sense. It's about as powerful, I would say. But it's got much more significance to Maximus. But here's the thing: if Della's keeping it anyway, it's not really a concern.
Yes, I just envisaged a situation where we'd get to the village, we would encounter the undead, and Maximus would say, "Della, quick, give me the necklace because I know how to use it better." And then suddenly the tables would turn.
Okay, I can tell you, if there are undead around, Maximus here is a priest of Pharasma. If there are undead around, they're going to be Maximus' first priority. Definitely. I'll vouch for him on that.
Right.
They won't even notice the shark flopping into the area.
Yes, do you hear that, Maximus? I just vouched for you.
He nods.
So-
He nods as you do so, Olwyn.
No more snivelling or being a dick, all right?
Oh yeah, you can see he's kind of stopped the initial shock of kind of having to confront all these problems he's having seems to have passed, and he seems a bit more put together now. He's just being quiet.
Right, so I better go and speak to Nadia. Where is Nadia? Has anyone seen her?
As you have this thought, Otto, you sort of look up to the stairs to the rooms, and you can see Nadia making her way downstairs with Orm and Mioli in tow.
Okay.
She sees all of you sat at a table, and she sort of waves a good morning. She sort of waves over to you. Good morning. Olwyn, you notice that as she comes downstairs, she looks a little more tired than perhaps you've seen her before. Doesn't look like she slept particularly well.
No, and I know why. Okay, I'll get up and intercept her and take her away, so she's away from the table with Maximus, and explain the situation and explain the thinking and what does she think about it.
Well, if yous want to go and take care of this, we've got to go north anyway. I mean, it'll be cramped, but there's space for 2 more. We can get that Maximus fella and your new friend Della. We can get them both on a sled. I do know of this place known as Ulsgard. It's not far. It's maybe a day and a half north. Mostly ruined. Folks just pass it by these days. I won't be taking the boys in there. If you want to go in there, you can go in with your friend Maximus, and I'll wait on the road.
All right. I can always leave Chardonnay with you. for protection as well.
Oi, that'd be a great comfort.
Yes. All right then. As long as you're in agreement, we wouldn't want to arbitrarily make decisions for you.
No, it's no skid off my nose. I mean, as long as this fella's, well, as long as none of your acquaintances are a danger to my boys, they're welcome.
We wouldn't let that happen.
All right. Well,
Right.
we're gonna get some food, and then we'll probably start getting ready to head out.
Okay. I wander back over to the table and yes, Narja's in agreement. Narja's going to stay outside the village with Chardonnay and the boys. It's up to you what you choose to do, Maximus, but it'd probably be useful to have you in the village with us.
And as you say this,
we're going into the village.
Yes, that's the idea.
It's on the way,
Yes.
It's on the way. Yes.
and I would appreciate that.
What did you think we were doing when we said we would help?
Give them a lift. leave them to it.
No, I think we ought to help. It's the right thing to do, Otto.
And what about Maximus Laurentius's friends from earlier? Will they be coming too?
I hope not.
Well, wouldn't it be useful to have a few red shirts, as it were, to help us out?
No.
I mean, if you wanted to hire them, I'm sure they'd be open to negotiation.
Wait! You hired them? You hired them to come and take your necklace back?
Yes, I offered them some payments once the job was done. The job's not done, so no payment.
Right.
Aren't they going to want paying anyway because they've done the work?
Aren't they going to want to finish the job, maybe?
It sounds like you need to get out of this little town, Maximus.
You can see he's just nodding in agreement.
Let's go. Because if we stay here, I'm just going to carry on drinking.
Says Brother Amos on his third breakfast
let us
rum.
not discount that as an option.
Now, I'm going to ask a question here, and Dom might kill me for asking this because it's a bit technical. As a champion of Caden Kalian, because sort of overindulgence and essentially the way I read it, sort of addiction is a bit of an anathema to Caden Kalian. Would Alwyn know of any ways, techniques, methods for helping Maximus to break his addiction? It's a very thoughtful look.
It is. For podcast listeners, Dom has let his eyes wander to the ceiling and is deep in thought.
Oh, his eyes have rolled upwards.
And back down.
He's doing a 360.
Yeah, heavy sigh.
We had to scrape him off the ceiling with a rake.
I'll tell you what, Owen. Give me a wisdom roll.
Oh. Okay. Oh, not bad. 13.
13. 13 is enough. Yeah, I think Olwyn probably has a vague understanding of, how to break these kinds of cycles once people get into them. Yeah, I think it's safe to say Olwyn has at least an understanding that although it is an anathema to be to basically be a dick in Caden's eyes, Caden Kaelin is not a particularly vengeful deity, and I think he understands that with the freedom to make choices, people sometimes make bad choices, and they should be given a chance to redeem themselves, unless they are irredeemable. So yeah, I think certainly Olwyn has this idea in his head that Maximus is not beyond help. I will leave you to decide what form that help takes.
Okay. Well, it's the intention is, if they're going to be spending some time together, to basically talk Maximus through it and offer any advice or help that he can.
Okay.
Probably more talking therapy than anything else, but
yeah, no worries. You can absolutely do that sort of thing.
Yeah, bit of CBT,
Yes.
EDM.
give him a pair of dice and then whack him on the head every time he rolls them.
Or give him the ability to do it himself.
Yeah.
Can't roll dice if you've had your hands cut off.
Oh no. All right. So yeah. With all that in mind, is there anything else you want to do in the place of Come On In? Anything else you want to say?
In terms of how quickly we can leave, are we going to be hanging around? I'm not sure how resting works in Pathfinder, so.
Okay. So I mean, you are currently fully rested.
Mm-hmm.
So aside from any damage you took in that fight, you would have been at full hit points. You would have been raring to go. There's enough of an economy in Come On In that you could have kind of stocked up on various supplies, rations, water, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Cool.
So really, you're ready to go, kind of whenever you want to.
Cool.
If you wanted to take more time to rest up and get yourself to full health, you could do that. You could either take another day at Come On In, or you could maybe see if you can patch yourself up with a medicine skill, or you could just go without.
Could I do that on myself?
If you are trained in medicine and you have healer's tools, absolutely.
I do not have healer's tools, no.
Are you injured? Sorry.
Yes, I took a bit of a sting in the last fight.
And you do see that despite your magical interference, Della does have a couple of bruises from where she was struck with the sap.
And a few hives
from the bees.
No, I said I was sorry.
If I may, and Arwen will place a hand on your shoulder and you get 12 hit points back.
Oh.
There you go.
Just like that. Nice.
Olwyn lays his hand on your shoulder, Della, and you feel a warmth spread through your body, as if you've just had a particularly fortifying glass of brandy. And you feel lightheaded for just a second, and then your vision clears, and you feel much better.
I don't know what you just did there, Owen, but that was great.
It's healing. It's see, I'm a representative, I suppose. I champion the causes of Caden Kaelin. Yeah. Caden Kaelin. I'll get my stein out and raise it. And yes, he's blessed me with the ability to help people feel better. And mainly for hangovers, but it works for other things as well.
It would have been good to know you a few weeks ago. I'll tell you
What
that.
did? Oh, what happened a few weeks ago?
Story for another time, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
Caden Kaelin, for your benefit, Amy, is a god who is known. Basically, he's kind of the god of drinking and freedom. He was once a mortal man who ascended to godhood.
Through drinking, or?
Through drinking.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
Freedom.
Basically, he got really drunk, really drunk one night, and got dared to take the test for Starstone, which is like a test for becoming a god. and he succeeded.
Wow.
Most people blow up when they try and do it.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. Well, having just been, I would also
Leave
it'll
like a
take 10
tree.
minutes to.
Are you sure you two don't want to smoke something together now that you've completed this pleasurable act?
That's just you're weird. You're weird. I'm going to drink from my stein.
Okay, so unless there's anything else you all want to do, you spend the rest of the morning just sort of making light conversation, having some breakfast, and after a few hours, not even that long, after perhaps an hour, Nadia approaches you with the boys, and sort of you can see that she's fully decked out in her furs and seemingly ready to move on. All right then, are yous all ready to get back on the road?
Yes, this is Nadia. This is Orin and Mowgli and
Hi, my
So
name's
Yuli.
Della.
Yuli.
Nice to meet you.
Della, Nadia Petska, pleasure to meet you. Understand you're going to be riding with us a short way.
Yes, I believe so.
And again, for your benefit, Amy, Nadia is a fairly averagely tall human woman. Looks quite stocky and looks like someone who spends a lot of time in the wilds. She's got vibrant red hair and sort of piercing blue eyes that have a softness to them. But you are led. You make your way back out of the Playful Come On. Nadia sort of retrieves the dogs and the sleds from where they had been stabled, along with Chardonnay. Chardonnay comes out to greet you all, and before too long, you find yourselves back in the saddle, as it were. Who is going to be driving the second sled? Brother Amos
will drive a sled again.
All right.
You seem to have the knack.
yes, very good at it.
Yeah. So
I don't know what it is. It just comes naturally.
Despite the raging hangover, Brother Amos gets himself back into the driving seat, and you all saddle up, ready to go. Again, Brother Amos, if I could just have a nature roll, please.
Maybe your deity has an affinity with animals. Who's your deity again?
22.
That's weird deity.
Yes.
22.
So I was thinking about numbers. I wasn't listening to what you were saying.
I say it's maybe it's your deity. Through your deity, you have an affinity with animals. But I was just wondering who's your deity. Remind me who you said your deity was.
I have many.
Many.
I'm convinced that Brother Amos is like Benny from the Mummy. Just pulls out a different holy symbol every time he thinks he needs one.
He might be. We'll find out at some point, I'm sure.
Sure
Like-
he will.
Like the opposite of the Golden Road.
Yeah.
I don't like to talk about my faith.
Okay, I understand. I have a complex history myself. Yes.
So
Where I came from, it's banned. You're not allowed to worship anyone
At all.
at all. That's right. Yes, the Golden Road. Yes. So I wasn't a worshipper of Caden Kalian back then. I followed another faith. But that's a story for another time.
Did that also involve excessive drinking? This other faith.
No.
Smoking.
No.
I tell you, Orwin, just give me a wisdom roll real quick.
21.
21. Okay. Yeah. Perhaps you're doing it on purpose, but you are aware that that's not quite true. Religion isn't banned in Rahadum. Religion is it's just not considered. The gods are not considered trustworthy. More emphasis is placed in your own skill rather than the divines. But it's not banned.
No, but yeah, sort of looked down upon. That's how I'm interpreting.
Yeah.
Sure
thing.
I suppose I was speaking in shorthand.
Yes, yeah. But either way, after this conversation is had, you sort of find yourselves back up in the saddle of the sleds. Della, you're sort of shown to two quite large travelling sleds that are each pulled by a team of six dogs, and you watch as Nadia and her two boys, along with probably one of the four of you. There's not really room for all of you plus Maximus in your sled. Up to you who that is. And yeah, you watch as Nadia starts sort of setting her dogs in motion, and then you sort of look over at the other sled and you see Brother Amos. Somehow, despite his raging hangover, you can see that he's got his eyes closed. He's sweating a bit, clearly suffering in some manner. Literally hops onto the sled, and you think for a second that this is going to end in complete disaster. But one-handed, with a flick of his wrist, there's a click of the reins, and the second sled begins trotting along very, very easily. Once again, soon almost overtaking Nadia's group, and you expertly rein them back in, and you can just see that Brother Amos is, although his eyes are a bit glazed over, there's a very instinctive control in the wrist with his reins.
You look like you've done that before, Amos.
It's quite funny. He did it for the first time yesterday, and he's somehow amazing at it.
It was just yesterday, wasn't it?
It literally, yeah. In game terms, it literally was yesterday the first time you'd ever done this. And you begin making your way northward.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. Go on. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I forget that we've actually only been on the road together for about 3 days. Because of well, it's more than that, but like in the game time, because we have the gaps in between recording.
Yeah, I think we, as characters, we've only actually known each other a couple of weeks, isn't it?
I think it's close to a month at this point,
right?
Because there was a bit of back and forth going through the Borderwood, and you've had some time in Irison as well. But I think it's probably not much more than a month, which is crazy to think.
Yes.
But you saw as you bring your dogs into line, your caravan begins making its way northward out of the settlement of Come On In. It's a clear day. There's even a break in the clouds. You can see the sun sort of high above the snowy landscape, and as you're kind of moving further northwards, you don't initially see anybody else on the road. There are no other travellers heading north, at least not this early. As you pull out of a settlement, you can see there's a few rabbits playing in the snow nearby. You perhaps make out a fox or something sort of slinking through the underbrush. And after about an hour of travel, you start seeing birds kind of flying overhead. Let's have perception rolls from everybody, please.
10.
Ooh, 27.
Okay.
26.
26.
11.
11. Okay. So Brother Amos, too focused on driving the sled to notice and Otto distracted also. Della and Olwyn, as you're travelling, you notice that these birds that are wheeling overhead, a lot of them seem to be ravens. And as you notice, initially you don't really pay much attention to them, but then you start noticing that some of these ravens seem to be following you, and they seem to be coalescing into greater numbers. And just at the moment, as you kind of see a large swarm of them appearing in the sky, you get the sense that they are about to dive towards you. And that is where we're going to end for tonight, folks.
Oh my gosh.
Well. Never more.
It's always the birds.
Blimey.
Now, before we go, I think it's worth a very quick mention that our next episode is going to be 1 whole year since we started. It's going to be our 1 year anniversary.
It is.
Very, very exciting. So, do listen out for that, listeners, and watch our social media, because we plan to do a special stream the day before.
Twitch, we do indeed.
It launches on Saturday the 6th of March.
We won't say too much about that right now because we're still kind of figuring out the details, but certainly keep an eye on social media, and hopefully by the time this goes out we would have already announced something for you.
Absolutely. So yes, so very exciting.
Tales from the 20 Side is a Feagle Films production in association with Juicy Falls. Music by Nazar Ryback from hooksounds.com. Editing by Stu Jackson. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram by searching Tales from the 20 Side, or by visiting talesfromthe20side.com.
A year with we've now recorded a year's worth, folks.
It's mad.
Woo!
Crazy.
Yeah.
What a wild ride it's been, and and now we're about to get killed by ravens, and that's it.
Win some, lose some.
It's funny. I'm also being followed by ravens in my D&D game, so it's just like they won't leave me alone.
There we go.
Excellent.
Make sure you keep an eye on our socials. We've hopefully got something exciting planned, and next episode will be one whole year. And here's to many more. All right. Well, thank you, folks, for listening, and we will catch you next time on Tales from the 20 Side. Good night.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.